Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Call Sheet Confessions. Today, my guest is a filmmaker. He works in film production across a variety of different shows like the Bachelor franchise, the Kardashians. He recently was a key PA on the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary special and also worked on the Euphoria promo. My guest is Matt Sonnack. Welcome, Matt.
Hello. Hi. How's it going? Thank you for having me, Mia.
Thank you for being here.
So great to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's great to see you. It's been a
great
minute.
To see you too. Yeah.
Yeah. We met when we worked on Let's Marry Harry
Let's Marry
together.
Harry with good old Harry Jowsey.
Yes. That was fun. That was a really fun
It was a blast.
time.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
Still hasn't come out yet, but it's going to be great. When it drops, it's going to change the world.
Whenever it drops. Wondering when.
Yeah, soon.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a good one. We'll have to do like a watch party or something.
Oh my
It'll
gosh, that'd be so much fun.
Right?
Get the gang back together.
Yes, exactly. We got to make it happen. So, take me back. You grew up in Minnesota. What were you like as a kid?
So, as a kid, I loved watching movies and TV. That was kind of like my escape, really, because we were a no video games household.
Okay.
Because they rot your brain. You know.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
I was definitely spent a lot of time watching movies and TV. I was kind of a nerdy kid. I was a little bit shy. So watching movies and TV before I developed social skills was helpful for me because it made me feel like I wasn't alone. I was still, even if I'm not really hanging out with anybody, I can still watch all these kinds of things. And then, you get to learn social skills in certain ways from movies and TV, both what you should do and what you shouldn't do.
Totally.
But I've always loved movies and TV from a young age. And it's maybe we'll get into this, but it's I've always kind of known that I wanted to work in the film and TV industry because I was the kind of kid where when I would watch a movie, I would go afterwards and rewatch it with the commentary or watch all the behind the scenes features and stuff like that. So I've always been really interested in how it actually works to make a movie or a TV show. And I've just always felt like this is what I want to do. So I've never really had a plan B. It's always been I'm going to move to LA and work in the film industry ever since I was a little kid. I would say my favorite movie as a kid was probably The Incredibles, the Pixar movie.
Great one.
Such a good movie. I could watch that movie any time of the day.
Yes.
But yeah, that was really my start, just sort of watching movies obsessively as a kid and trying to find out how they were made and all that kind of stuff. And now we're here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you were always also interested in how you put it together, the making of it. That's really interesting, and that you've just followed this plan A, your only plan, and
Totally
gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I had to work a lot by myself, but also my parents were very supportive too. Because when I was a kid at first, it was kind of maybe he'll grow out of it, maybe he'll, become a lawyer or whatever like that. But I think once my parents realized that it wasn't just I like to watch movies, it was I actually think about them and I'm really interested in, again, sort of the mechanics of making them, then they were kind of oh, okay. They've been super encouraging.
That's amazing.
For a long time, I've never really gotten you need to get a real job from my parents. They've always been super supportive, and I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah,
as well.
that's really amazing because without that support, it's tough,
Totally.
and it definitely helps and means a lot when you have those people in your corner and they believe in you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it takes that kind of proof of concept. At first, they might be, especially if they haven't worked in that industry or know anything about it, they might be a little weary of it. But then when they see you're passionate about it, they see the effort you're putting into it, and you start to kind of show that proof of concept more, then they get behind it.
And it's so funny too because my parents aren't like you said, they are not in the industry at all.
Yeah.
And so when I watch movies with them, my mom is the kind of person who 5 minutes into a movie, she'll ask, "Who is this? What's going on?" And my dad watches stuff, and then I'll try to talk to him about something we watched yesterday, and he'll already have forgotten. So I mean, I love my parents, and it's so much fun to watch stuff with them. But they're not born and bred in the industry thing. So I am, again, grateful for their support, but I am kind of coming into this from the outside a little bit.
Yeah, totally. So growing up, you were interested in film and TV. You knew this is what you wanted to do. When did you start actively pursuing it?
I think the first time that I really was oh, this is something I could do was in 6th grade. I had a teacher who he really liked to film stuff. He had a camera, like a camcorder, and he would just film our class. If we would go have a field day or whatever like that, or like a field trip, we'd do a class project, whatever. He would just always be filming stuff, and then at the end of the year, I remember he compiled like a DVD where he just had assembled all of our clips together, and then he put in like some song by, I think it was Johnny Eat World. He's like, if
Okay.
you're listening, what? That song.
Yeah.
And I remember getting home from the last day of sixth grade and putting that in and watching it and being like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I was like, if my teacher can do this, anybody can do this.
Ah.
And then from there, I started taking more and more film classes. It's Minnesota, so it's not exactly film heaven, but
Right.
like my high school had a couple like art of film classes is what
Oh,
they were called
cool.
and stuff like that. So, but I mean, yeah, from early on, even elementary school into middle school into high school was even back then. I knew and was interested in that kind of stuff.
Wow, it's really cool that your school offered those classes so you could kind of start, exploring that interest of yours.
Totally, especially somewhere like Minnesota.
Right.
And even if some of these classes are just like, let's watch these movies and analyze them, and not so much as like, let's actually make them, it's still helpful because you still learn about stuff.
Totally. Yeah. So then after high school, what was the plan? Where'd you end up?
Originally the plan was to go to UC Berkeley,
Okay.
but my GPA was not high enough, which is
Ah.
okay, it happens. So I ended up going to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, which was the nearest place to me in the Midwest that had a film program.
Okay.
And UWM actually has a really solid film program. Not a lot
Mm.
of people talk about it, but it genuinely is like a very solid film program. And I met a lot of people there, a lot of cool people, learned a ton there, and that really sort of helped set the stage for me to eventually move here
Yeah.
to LA.
That's great. It's cool that they had such a great program. I feel like the college that I went to, like their media production program, like I learned so much and there were
Hmm.
so many different things I could do and learn and classes I could take that felt really prepared me for coming out here. So it's great you had that same experience.
Totally.
What kind of like classes or projects did you work on in college that helped what you do now?
Well, there were a lot of different types of classes. There was digital filmmaking, there
Yeah.
was filmmaking with like the old ones where you got to load the film in the camera and all that kind of stuff. Um, Again, like you said, I was very lucky in a lot of ways to have a school that had a film program that was able to cover a lot of these different areas. Because I
Right.
really did, I had a class about what it's like to be a producer. I had a class about what it's like to be a screenwriter. Like I was able to kind of just get a little bit of what it's like for each of these departments, then kind of like narrow in on what I specifically like. In college, for example, I realized that I'm not really a gear guy. I'm not really the kind of guy that is like, I know everything about the cameras and all the lenses and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's just not really me. But I feel like it's good that I learned that in college so that I'm not still trying to figure it out when I'm actually on the job.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because even if you don't end up doing the camera stuff, it's good in production to know every aspect of production.
Totally.
And even like, I feel like I've kind of been talent and then I've also been on the back end, but
Hmm.
then it's like a 360 view of everything that's going on. And like knowing one helps the other,
Hmm.
And when you are a producer, you're working in production, you really need to know what each person's doing so that you
Absolutely.
can, organize
Yeah,
everything in that way. So it's good to have knowledge in each area for sure.
totally.
Yeah, was there one that like stood out to you that you were learning about or being a producer, being a director, something that you were like, all right, I think that's where I fit?
I think a lot of people, when they start off at film school, or at least I'll say a lot of dudes,
Okay.
really want to be directors, right? They want to be the next Christopher Nolan, whatever. I had that period for a little while where I was like, I'm going to be a director and whatever. But again, just sort of over the course of both in classes and working on student film sets and stuff like that, I just was kind of like, okay, like I can do this, but it's not really what like gets me out of bed. Like
Yeah.
I generally sort of prefer sort of the more producing side, really. I like to work with sort of the ideas and to sort of help assemble the crew and things like that. But I don't know, the idea of just being the one that has to call the shots basically all the time, at least, usually a director is the one that's calling the shots, we'll say.
Right.
But it's just, I don't really love being that guy. I can do it, but I do sort of prefer to generally take a more behind the scenes approach, just sort of helping the things run smoothly, basically, on the
Yeah.
production.
Yeah. I hear that. I feel like I always wanted to be a dancer. I never
Mhm.
really saw myself being a choreographer
Mhm.
because I like kind of being given the direction and making something great out of it or making it better than they thought it could be,
Totally.
rather than being the person kind of being like, go here, do this, do
Yeah.
this. So it's like being able to take that direction well, but also like assessing needs,
Mhm.
and I think it takes a smart person to understand that because doing something without being told, knowing what needs to be done without being told to do it.
Well, and also again, sort of like we were saying before, a director kind of has to be locked in a lot of times. Someone who's not a director can interface with different areas of the production and stuff like that. Like I
Yeah.
said, and that's something that's super fun to me. Not to get too ahead of the topic, but
No,
like
totally.
that's something I really like about being a production assistant is that you can interface with so many different aspects of production. You can pick up little things here and there, and you're not just focused on we got to get these shots.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun because then you can talk to all the different people on set and meet people in different departments and it's fun.
Hmm.
Like I really enjoy that and I think then you're able to take things and learn things from everyone.
And then maybe you can realize like, oh, they had me, hold the light today, and then I realized that I actually kind of liked working with the lighting and stuff like that, and you can pivot more in that direction.
Totally. It gives you a chance to kind of test things out and see which way you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you graduated college
Hmm.
and then you were like, all right, it's time to move to LA?
I knew that I wanted to, but I graduated in 2021,
Yeah.
so I was a COVID college kid, um, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time just sort of seeing the world first. So I spent like an extra 6 months in Milwaukee, and then I did a little bit of traveling. I went to Barcelona,
Oh,
Spain for like
cool.
3 months. I spent a little bit of time in Portugal, just sort of
Wow.
like seeing the world. And then after I was done with that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go lock in LA. So I moved here in 2023, I believe. It was spring 2023, right when the writers and actors strikes were happening.
Yeah.
So very unlucky time, but I did get lucky in that I was able to kind of jump right into the film world and start getting on sets right away.
So how did you do that? What was your game plan right when you moved to Los Angeles?
So back in 2018, when I was still in college, I had an internship. A family friend of mine set me up with an internship on The Bachelorette. So
Ah,
I flew out here to LA during spring break, and I spent a week working on The Bachelorette. And I still was able to maintain some of those connections and stuff like that. So even though it was several years later in 2023, I was kind of able to pick up where it left off, basically. And also, weirdly, one of my friends, classmates from college, also ended up working on the Bachelor franchise. So
wow.
completely independent from the previous thing, I also had this other connection to the Bachelor franchise. And so I was able to kind of leverage both of those and get my way in. And that was how it started out for me on The Bachelor. Yeah.
That's so cool. Like I love that, you end up having that connection from college, but also that family friend connection.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like everybody says it, but it is crazy how small the entertainment industry is sometimes.
Right.
Like some people you think you'll never see again, and then it's like, oh, hey, I'm working on this new show with you, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So when you were doing your internship, what kind of things did you do during that on The Bachelor?
I mean, they basically just kind of like threw me in as a PA. I remember
Okay.
I like the day that I landed, I went and I got my Airbnb, and then like the next day, I showed up to the Bachelor Mansion, and they just gave me the keys to a minivan. And we're like, all right, this minivan's full of stuff. You're gonna go drive it to our shooting location. I'd never driven a minivan before. I was like, okay, here we go. But I mean, yeah, they just kind of like threw me into it, and I'm kind of glad that they did. I'm glad that they didn't handle me with kid gloves and be like, oh no, it's okay. He doesn't need to blah blah blah, because I mean, I was able to right away just kind of see like, okay, I can do this.
Right.
And I appreciated the trust that they put in me, even just as like an 18-year-old intern, to be like,
Yeah.
he can do this.
And
And
I
sorry, you go ahead.
No, but I feel like with internships, that's what you want to get out of it is real experience. So if they were to, treat you with the kid gloves or be like, oh, he doesn't, it's like you're not getting the real feel. And I feel
Totally.
like when I would do internships, I really wanted to get as much experience as I could doing the job as possible to see if I wanted to do that job.
Yeah.
If you're not able to really do all the things, then you don't know. And I remember my first day driving one of the minivans, and I was like, can can I drive this
Yeah.
thing? Like, I'm really small. Like, I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely fun. And then it shows you, like, I can do this. I got it. You
Mhm.
know, you just got to kind of get thrown into it.
Totally. Yeah, and I even remember it's like, they would kind of razz me about stuff. And at the time, because I'm brand new, I'm just like kind of nervous. I was like, "Oh my God, they're making fun of me." But looking back on it, I'm like, no, they were like treating me like part of the team. Because
Yeah.
that's how film crews operate. Everybody razzes each other, whatever. But generally, I mean, there's some kind of toxic sets, but generally, it's like on the stuff that I've worked on, people are a family. So if you
Yeah.
get razzed like that, then it's like you're part of the team, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So then after the internship, did you just start working as a PA right away?
Yeah, basically. Well, so after the internship happened in 2018, I went
Yeah.
back to Milwaukee, finished up college, worked on some student film sets and stuff like that. But then, yeah, basically, as soon as I moved to LA, I was able to jump back in and just get on sets right away. Like I said, Bachelor was sort of my main thing for a
Yeah.
while, but I started being able to pick up little things here and there. But yeah, I'm really grateful that I was able to just come in here and find work when I know that there have been so many people that have been here for years and years and years that are having
Yeah.
trouble finding work and stuff like that. Especially during the strikes, it was just
Right.
I remember when I first moved here and was working on Bachelor, we were shooting a lot at the Warner Brothers lot. And I remember I would park at the garage and walk over to the Warner Brothers lot, and there'd be people outside with like the picket signs, because
Yeah.
everyone's on strike. And
Right.
I was kind of like, like I support you guys, but also I got to go to work. Because
Yeah.
technically Bachelor doesn't use writers, doesn't use actors, stuff like that. So we're not like scabbing or
Yeah.
anything like that. But it was weird because pretty much the entire rest of the lot was empty. It was kind of just us. And
Right.
like I said, I support those guys, but
Definitely.
I'm new. I'm starting my career. I gotta
Gotta take a job.
gotta get it where I can. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, I hear that. So when you joined back in with The Bachelor, did you just reach out to like the same connections that you had from the internship and see if they needed someone?
Yeah, the connections from the internship, and then also, like I said, my friend from college.
Yeah.
Both of those were big helps for me, and yeah, they were just kind of able to fit me in. I started off basically I had like one day just in the warehouse, the Bachelor warehouse. Just kind of reorganizing and pulling stuff out. I think they'd just come back from a season of Bachelor in Paradise.
Okay.
So we were kind of like unloading everything off the trucks that just came from Mexico and blah, blah, blah. And I think that was just kind of like a trial run to see if I still had it. And then after that, they just kept hiring me some more.
That's awesome. What do you think makes a good PA, like someone that gets rehired?
I think there's a couple different things. Obviously, you got to be a hard worker.
Yeah.
You can't be oh, I'm so tired. My feet hurt. Like everyone's feet hurt. Everyone's
Right.
tired. Like,
Right.
you got to be a good communicator. Like this is something that I see certain people don't really do, but it's like if someone gives you something and is like you got to go drop this off here, you got to be texting something like, "Hey, I'm leaving this location. My ETA is blah blah blah." Because if someone gives you something and then you just disappear and don't give them any updates, they're like, "So what happened to our thing?"
Yeah.
I think that is a big thing. And then also, like I said before, you do kind of have to fit in, certainly. Like you can be a really hard worker and you can be whatever, but if you're like weird and antisocial, then people also probably are not going to really want to have you back.
Totally.
I mean, the film industry, it is about work and talent and stuff like that, but it is also about connections and are you pleasant to be around on set for 12 hours straight? Like
Exactly.
there have definitely been times, this it might sound bad, but there have been times, where I'll look at a call sheet and I'll see it's like, oh man, like I'm going to be with this person who doesn't talk at all or this person who doesn't make jokes ever, blah, blah, this kind of stuff. And I'm gonna be, oh
Yeah.
man, it's going to be a long day.
Right.
So my goal is to never be one of those guys. My goal is to be someone who, when you look on the set, you're like, oh, I get to work with Matt today.
Yes, I love that, and I feel the same way. Like I could look at a call sheet, be really excited, and see people's names on the call sheet. But
Mhm.
also, yeah, there's times where you're like, all right, this is gonna be a long one
Yeah,
without,
definitely.
yeah. And I think that's a really good mindset of wanting to be the person that people want to work with, and that's what makes it fun because it makes your experience better, it makes their experience better, it just makes the day so much more fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're long days, like we've
Long,
said.
long days.
Yeah, so you need someone to laugh or crack a joke to keep you going.
Totally.
Yeah. So then from Bachelor, how did you start working on some other shows?
Um, for the first like year and a half, I would mainly just do Bachelor
Yeah,
because I was just happy to be working. I was like, oh my God, I'm on a huge show, blah, blah, blah.
totally.
But then after a little while, I was like seeing that these other PAs were working on cool stuff. And every once in a while, I'd have someone reach out to me about something. And I was like, okay, I should start branching out a little bit, trying to find other shows, other shoots, whatever that I can help
Yeah.
out on. So after again a little bit of time to just kind of settle into the industry with my nice little Bachelor job, I was like, let me start reaching out to more people because over the course of a season of The Bachelor, you meet so many people. Not
Yeah.
even like the higher ups or whatever, just PAs.
Right.
A lot of PAs work on so many different kinds of things, and so all it takes is one person. He's like, "Hey, we need another PA. You want to call up Matt or whatever like that?" And then
Right.
you meet a whole bunch of new people on that show, and then it just kind of builds from there.
Yeah.
So I do think it is important to, obviously it's important to network with the higher ups, with the producers, whatever, but I do think it is important to network also with people that are at your same position
Yeah.
because people aren't going to be PAs forever. Like if you're friends with someone who's a PA and then they become a coordinator and they're looking for PAs to hire, they'll be, oh, I remember Matt. I was his friend back when we did blah, blah, blah. I'm going to hire him. That kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah, it's that kind of networking across and networking horizontally rather than just vertically. Because, of course, it's important to network with people above you, but the people across from you, like you said, you don't know who someone's going to be one day. And
Absolutely.
they'll remember you and how you made them feel and how it was working with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they can bring you back. You never know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is on your call sheet now? What's a day in your life look like on some of the shows that you've worked on and just in general?
So currently I am on the Kardashians show. I just have sort of found myself existing in the reality world.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. It's great for work. I don't really watch reality shows. Like I watch Survivor, and then
Yeah.
I think it's like I took an edible and watched one episode of The Golden Bachelor one time. But like, that's okay for me, honestly, because it's like we'll be
Yeah.
doing something ridiculous, be like, oh, we're gonna go to this location and do whatever, and it's like, all right, well, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
it probably is cooler in my mind of me imagining it than it actually is on TV. But it is kind of fun, and I do think that kind of makes me a good employee too, because I'm not always asking questions. Oh, who's the blah blah blah? Are we gonna do this, that? Because
Yeah.
I've known people that have gotten, they've lost their jobs on shows because they ask too many questions about things, or they try to take pictures of things that they shouldn't because they're huge fans.
Right.
And so I think me kind of being detached from that and just seeing it as like, this is just work, it makes me great, because I'm never, if we have a secret guest on the Kardashians or whatever, I'm not going to be like, oh, who is it, can I blah blah blah. It's like, all right, whatever, it's our
Yeah.
guest.
No, I think that's a really good point. And I think even if you are a fan or you like I love reality TV and stuff,
Mhm.
but being professional and knowing you're there to do a job, you're not
Totally.
there to watch the show.
Totally.
Like you're there to help make it and be a part of the process. And I think like it's okay to enjoy what the show kind of shows you're working on,
Totally.
but to definitely be professional, not be asking questions or poking your head in places you shouldn't be. Because
Mhm.
I've seen the same thing happen on a show I worked on. Like someone was a huge fan of the person, and
Mhm.
it kind of rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah. Totally.
Because then you don't know if they're going to be like super focused on the work that they're doing or more like distracted trying to figure out
Mhm.
what's going on or take pictures of things they shouldn't. Like you
Yeah,
said.
and then if like, if I'll just give an example. I was working on a project one time
Yeah.
where we had a very big celebrity as sort of our main talent, and one of the PAs got caught by their bodyguard trying to like sneak a picture of them. And
Wow.
obviously that person lost their job, but then that kind of makes the whole production team look bad, right? It's
Yeah.
like, who hired this guy?
Right.
So it's not just worrying about yourself. It's also like, okay, you represent the entire production team. And the bodyguard is not going to be like, oh, well, it was just you, so it's okay. Like, they are worried. They have very specific things that they are looking out for, and they don't really have the patience to sit there and try to comb through some of these things. And it's just like, all right, no, you got to be on your game.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you don't screw this up for yourself or anyone else.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's not just a reflection of you, it's a reflection of the whole team. It really is. Because, like you said, then it's like, well, who hired this person? Who trusted this person to be here on
Mhm.
set? Because then it's like, I used to do like mitzvahs in
Mhm.
college. And I still do. I still get down to But there would be chances because made a good impression for myself and got really close with like the owner of the company,
Mm-hmm.
and he would bring me back a lot, and then he started asking for dancer recommendations, so I had the chance to get my friends hired, but I had to be really specific with who I brought on, because if I brought on someone, they didn't show up or they called out last minute, or whatever the case may be, then that could make me look bad.
Totally.
So yeah, definitely, it's not just like if they do that, it makes the rest of the team look bad too. Yeah. So then you were also a key PA on the Hannah Montana anniversary special.
I mean, talk about being on a set for something that you're a fan of.
Right.
I
Right.
loved Hannah Montana as a kid. I didn't want to
Me
admit
too.
it because I was a boy. Like, this is a girl show. But I mean, Hannah Montana was great. This is a great show.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And I usually don't fanboy. I'm usually able to stay very professional. But I will admit, when I was on set, because we rebuilt the set from the show, all that kind of stuff,
Which is so
the
cool.
Stewart house, all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
seeing all these props that they pulled out of the Disney archives or whatever like that, and seeing Miley and Billy Ray in there, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. This is pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that was a blast. That was probably the most fun project I've worked on in a while. Just every day is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I get to work on this. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's like a dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching it and like crying. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like so heartfelt and just like nostalgic, like going back to that time, and
Mm-hmm.
really well put together, and so cool that you got to work on that.
Yeah, and I thought it was fun too because obviously when something like that happens, you're gonna have people on the internet are gonna have a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
But so Miley she didn't wear a wig for it. She just had her hair. I think she might have had some extensions.
Yeah.
But it was not a wig. And
Right.
but I saw when the trailers started coming out and stuff, I saw all these, experts on Reddit or whatever be like, the wig doesn't look as good as it used to. The wig looks greasy, blah blah blah. And I just had to be like, you guys are wrong.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not
you
even
guys
a wig.
don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Basically. And it's just stuff like that is fun because you have sort of the insider knowledge, and even if I'm not going to go rub it in someone's face, I'm just like,
It's cool that you
yeah,
know.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, what is the biggest difference between being a PA and being a key PA, and how does that role differ?
I think as a key PA, you have to have more responsibility,
Yeah.
and you got to be ready to answer questions from PAs, and you got to kind of have the answer ready to go. Basically, I just feel like you kind of got to be the intermediary between the rest of the production and specifically the PAs, because not every set has key PAs. Some sets just do PAs, and that's that. But if you are a key PA, then you definitely do have some more responsibility, and you got to know things that PAs are going to ask you questions about.
Yeah.
Because if you're a PA, you're going to have a lot of questions. Someone's gonna give you a vague instruction, and then you kind of
Yeah.
got to be like, all right, I don't really know what to do about this. So yeah, I mean, I really just feel like you got to be ready to answer questions. You got to know things, like if somebody's like, oh, who's Greg, the lighting guy? You got to know what Greg looks like. You got to know all this kind of stuff so that we can go get his
Yeah.
lunch order or whatever like that. It is similar to being a coordinator. I'd say there is a lot of
Yeah.
overlap between key PA and coordinator. But I would say with key PAs, you're mostly focusing on the PAs, whereas with coordinator, you got to focus on the PAs, but you also got to have an even wider knowledge of the other areas of the production.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And as a PA on the Kardashians or Bachelor, what does a day in your life look like there?
Well, it's interesting because The Bachelor is a show where they definitely work you hard. I'm not complaining about it, but it is what it is. You're in the middle of
Yeah.
the summer, you're in Agora Hills, it's 98 degrees, the sun is out, there's not a cloud in the
Yeah.
sky, and you're lifting tables and setting up chairs. And that's kind of what you do. On the Kardashians, it's a little different because we have a smaller crew, and it's a lot more intimate, and it's a lot less of that kind of manual labor because we really try to not have a huge footprint. Because if people find out, oh, the Kardashians is filming here, then all the phones come out
Right,
and people
fans are
start
gonna show
freaking
up.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Kardashians is a lot more streamlined, I would say. That show is mainly it's a lot of driving, just making sure people and equipment get where they need to safely, and then the classic picking up lunch orders.
Yeah.
Got to get the lunch orders.
Yeah, and you
That's-
can't mess them up.
You cannot escape that. Any show that you are PAing on, basically, you are gonna have to pick up a lunch order at some point.
Yeah,
That's just the standard.
definitely. And then on top of production work and being a PA, you're also executive producing
hmm
short films of your own.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
So I have a friend who sort of runs his own production company out in New Jersey,
So cool.
which I don't know how much you've heard about this, but recently the New Jersey film scene has really been picking up.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it being from Philly. It's
hmm
super close, right
Yeah.
over the bridge, and it really is picking up.
Yeah. So my friend, I've known him for 10 plus years, and he's been really sort of working hard to pump out some short films to try to get them into festivals or just for fun and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So we've filmed 2 short films that I've helped executive produce. One of them is called Dig, and it's a dark comedy about a woman who gets called by her friend to help him bury a body on her day off.
Wow.
And then the other one, which they just shot, I was on set for Dig. We also just finished up this short called Other Life, and it's about a woman who goes to another planet to try to find resources and stuff, and then meets a resident of that planet. And it's sort of the question of, who's really the alien? That kind, if I'm invading on your land, even if you have blue skin, technically I'm the alien.
Yeah.
And there's stuff in there that's stuff about the environment. It's not too preachy, but it's stuff
Right.
about like data centers coming up and ruining some of these really nice wildlife forested areas that we have. Things that
Yeah.
it's sci-fi, but it is still real and applicable. And stuff like that, I think, is important to get out there, especially in the current age that we live in.
Absolutely. Yeah, those both sound really interesting. Yeah.
It's so much fun to be able to be involved with these kinds of things and make little booklets and help promote them and hire people to do posters. It's just lots of little things, but it really just kind of like scratches the itch.
Yeah, definitely. So what responsibilities do you have as an executive producer on that?
So for Dig, I was actually on set. I flew out to New Jersey last year and I was there. I helped assistant direct it in addition to executive
Awesome.
producing. The other film that they just did, Other Life, I was not able to be on set because
Yeah.
I had stuff here. But I'm still very involved in that. It's like I said, hiring people to do the posters, putting together press kits, reaching out to film festivals to see who wants to screen, reaching out to other producers, seeing if anybody else wants to give us a little bit extra money, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it is a lot of just back end stuff. And I do generally prefer to be on set
Right.
because being on set is just so much fun.
Yeah.
But I still think that it's good to get the experience of, like I said, doing press kits, just like the
Yeah.
paperwork and whatever, because that is still a big part of the filmmaking process. The filmmaking process doesn't end when we film the last shot. There's still a
Right.
whole other thing to do. And I've done some editing and stuff like that before too, but that's not, I like it and I think I'm pretty good at it, but it's not my bag. I don't think I'd want to do that as my job. I
Yeah.
like to edit stuff for fun. Once it becomes my job and I have to edit 30 minutes by tomorrow, then it's like, oh my gosh, this is not fun anymore.
Right.
So while the editing happens, I'm happy to be taking care of the other stuff,
Yeah.
basically.
And it's great to just increase your skills because you know what it's like to be on set, and it's no better feeling than being on set. But
Totally.
it's cool that you're also getting to learn those other skills.
hmm
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some segments.
Let's do it. Hell yeah.
So this one is called Hot Takes in Hollywood. So we're going
Right.
to do a little this or that.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Reality TV or scripted?
Scripted.
Scripted.
No offense to reality TV. Please continue hiring me for reality TV stuff, but scripted.
Yeah. It is fun working on reality TV. I love it, but I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Producing or directing?
Producing.
Walkie or like a text thread group chat?
Text thread group chat because
Ooh.
you can put memes in there. You can cut out little stickers of people making stupid faces and put them in, or you can send funny GIFs or whatever. Meanwhile, on the walkie, it'll be like, can you come to the... And it's like, sorry, can you say that again?
That's so true.
I feel like there's more clarity and more opportunity for memes. on a text thread.
Yeah, you can have more fun, and it can be more clear if you can't hear someone over the
Totally.
walkie. Yeah. 5 a.m. call time or overnight shoots?
5 a.m. call time every day of the week. I was doing overnights on Let's Marry Harry.
Yeah, you
And it was
were.
like I would come to set at 6 p.m. and then everyone would leave at like 9 p.m. and it would just be me and like a coordinator there until
Yeah.
the morning. It's like, oh, it's brutal.
I think I did one like 3. I did a 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. with you, and the stars were beautiful.
Of course.
That was a plus. But yeah, I'm with you. I didn't think I'd like the early mornings, but then you're done, and then you have like the rest of your night. 5 and 5, and then you have like the rest of your night free.
And I'm also just generally a morning person.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
Even if this is gonna make me sound like a crazy person, but even without an alarm, I wake up at like 6:30 in the morning.
Wow.
I just naturally, my internal clock wakes me up early. If I had a choice, I would be in bed by like 9:30, 10 p.m. every night.
Wow, I wish I had that internal clock that got me up. It's a struggle for me to get up in the morning.
So yeah, definitely early mornings for sure.
Okay, cool. Set life or office prep?
Set life.
Of course.
Yeah.
Indie films or studio production?
I feel like indie films, you definitely have some more leeway in terms of like, oh, we're going to change the shot and we're going to do this instead of this, and you can just do it because it's a small crew. People aren't totally relying on super strict whatever. But obviously with studio filmmaking, you have a lot more resources, you have better crafty, you probably have more employees, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to say studio, but
Okay.
but it's like a 51-49. Like it's very close for me.
Okay, got it. Call sheets or production schedules?
Call sheets.
Yeah. LA or Minnesota?
Oof. I mean, I'm going to say LA just because I've always wanted to move out here and live here, but I mean, don't get it twisted. I love Minnesota. Minnesota's beautiful. I still have some good friends from high school that I talk to, and whenever I go back there, I'm like, oh, it's great here.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Like, I love visiting Philly and getting that energy of being home and being surrounded by those people that you love that live there, but I've always wanted to live in LA too, and you're here, you're chasing the dream, like, you gotta love it.
Also in Minnesota, you get actual seasons, which is nice.
Yeah.
Winter is pretty intense there. I went back there a couple years ago in December, and I was like, okay, I remember why I left for this part at least.
Yeah.
But I kind of miss spring.
Yeah.
And not just like winter right into summer, basically, like we kind of have here.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna still say LA.
Yeah. All right. Now we're gonna get into some facts or fictions. We're gonna bust some myths about the industry.
Great, let's do it.
All right. First one is, you need connections or nepotism to work in the entertainment industry?
I'm going to say you do need connections to work in the industry, but not in like a derogatory way.
Right.
I mean, that's just a fact of the industries. Like I said, part of it is working hard, but a big part of it is social too. It's who you know.
Right.
You don't need nepotism, although obviously it helps. And I know a lot of people who have gotten by in the industry through nepotism, which that's not a knock on them.
Right.
If my dad was a famous movie guy, I'd be like, Dad, help me get a job. Come
Totally,
on.
yeah.
But I think that's a fact. You do need connections / nepotism, lesser amount of the nepotism, but definitely connections.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think it's also like, you can make those connections through friends. And,
Totally.
it doesn't need to be that your dad or your uncle or a family, like, it's great if you have a family friend, but it doesn't even need to be that. It could be literally a friend you met in college who could bring you on as a PA. So I feel like sometimes people who want to work in entertainment, the idea of having connections can feel daunting, but I feel like it can be a lot more simpler than people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Film school guarantees you a job.
No.
Yeah.
That's not correct. I know plenty of people that I went to film school with who were very talented, and, since I was in Wisconsin, not everybody moves out to LA. A lot of people move to Chicago because Chicago's got a pretty decent film scene too.
Yeah.
And even there, it's like, it can be tough. You can have as great of a senior film as anyone's ever seen, but kind of going back to our previous one, if you don't have the right connections to make it happen, it might not happen. You know? So no, film school and stuff like that definitely does not guarantee you a job.
Yeah, I think you can take skills from it and learn from it for sure, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get hired right after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reality TV is easier than scripted television.
I'm going to say I disagree with that because you have to be so ready to kind of pivot. If you have a script, then you generally know what the plan is for the day.
Yeah.
But it's like on the Kardashians, it'll be like, oh, we're gonna go follow Kim. Kim's gonna go to this place, and then we'll see what happens. Maybe Kim's gonna decide to make 3 other stops, or maybe Kim's gonna call it after an hour, and everyone gets to go home early. I feel like especially on a show like the Kardashians, where, like I said, our crew is purposely very small, so we can be mobile. We can quickly everyone get in the van and we go follow them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that definitely unscripted is a lot more unpredictable.
That's a good point. Like, Raina was on a couple episodes
Mhm.
ago, and she was a producer on Let's Marry Harry and
Mhm.
Bachelor, etc. And she was talking about how when you're working on reality TV, you're following reality. She's like, you can have a workflow, you can have a way you think something's gonna go, but when the cast gets on set, it's whatever they do. Like you just said, Kim could go one place, but then she could decide to do this, that, and
Yeah.
the third, and you're following that. Where when you're working scripted, it's more, you have more of an idea of what the day's gonna look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good point. The next one is you have to know exactly what you want to do immediately.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, like I said, when I was first starting out, I wanted to be a director.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I want to be an actor, or maybe I want to be a screenwriter. I think it's definitely, if you've been in the industry for like 5-6 years and you don't know what you want to do yet, then I think that's maybe a little bit of an issue.
Right.
But if you're just starting out, no. I mean, I think it's good if you don't quite know what you want to do yet. Again, because being a PA or whatever, you can try out lots of different departments and see what you like, see what you're into, see what you're good at.
Yeah, it's part of the process of figuring out what you like. And I'm glad that you said that, because I've heard like different opinions recently. I was talking to, this is so funny, there's this like bingo night that people do in Toluca Lake.
Great.
And
Love it. Love
I
it.
went with my friend, and one guy who works in film was saying that you kind of need to pick a role and stay in it. And he was kind of saying that if someone's working on as a camera guy on a set he's working on, but they really want to be a producer or something, everyone's going to keep hiring you as the camera guy because they see you as the camera guy. And it made my friend, she wants to act, but she also likes production, feel a little nervous of like, oh, should I not be doing one thing? Should I really be just saying I'm this and not? But I think it's part of the process. Like you said, if you're new and you're starting out, it's good to kind of try different things and see which lane that you fit.
Yeah.
But we were hearing that too, and then it was like, oh, like you just have to like pick one and stay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that perspective.
Yeah.
For sure, I get it. But it's like I have plenty of friends from Kardashians or Bachelor or whatever where they'll start out as a PA and then, they'll help the grips out with something. And, oh, actually, being a grip is kind of fun. I like going up on the lift and doing whatever. And then they, join the guild and become a grip full time. Like, I think especially a PA is a really good spot for someone if they don't fully know what they want, because there's a lot of different options for them.
Last one is production assistants just get coffee.
I mean, production assistants do get coffee.
Yes.
For sure. We do be getting coffee.
Yeah, we do.
But no, not just getting
Right.
coffee. Sometimes we have to take out the trash too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! On Let's Marry Harry, there was this one time. It was like this huge trash bag that I was trying to. We were trying to like throw it like in a fun way over, and mine like missed completely.
Yep.
It was so
That's how it goes.
Yeah, and then it ended up in the group chat. All right, our next segment is Crafty Corner.
Oh boy.
I'm excited for this.
Let's do it.
Matt, what does your dream ideal crafty look like?
I got a real sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I definitely have a sweet tooth. So I'm gonna be basic and say Welch's fruit snacks. Gotta have them. High chews. I inhale those.
Yeah.
I do feel like you gotta have, like, this might be like a no duh thing, but you gotta have a lot of water.
Yeah.
Like, soda is fine on set, whatever, if you have like one soda at lunch or something like that.
Right.
But I see these guys that show up to set at 6 a.m. and they're cracking open a Diet Coke, and I'm like, guys, come on. Like, let's have some water first, please.
Yeah, seriously.
So I mean, and I do see people, they'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm so tired, I'm blah," and I'll be like, "When's the last time you drank water?" Like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So gotta have water. I'm trying to think what else. Like I said, sweet tooth, so I'm only really thinking of the really sugary stuff. What about you?
Ooh, I don't think that anyone's ever asked me before. Hmm, great question. Mine would be such a hot take because I would want to like. I've never seen this stuff on
Let's
Crafty.
hear it.
This is what I
Let's
would
hear it.
want. I would want a lot of gluten-free options.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I'd want some fresh fruit, some
Yeah.
organic fresh fruit.
Yeah.
You know, apples are good. I like that they have apples
Yeah.
usually.
Mhm.
Oh, the protein bars, the Bear Bells.
Mhm.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
The ingredients aren't too bad.
Definitely.
So I'm here for it. We have coffee, but some matcha. Some matcha would be
Okay,
great.
getting fancy with it. Okay.
Definitely like tea if it's cold. Like at
Mhm.
night, if you're working a late night shoot, it's gonna get
Yeah.
cold. So having like something warm.
Hot chocolate, something like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
big time.
I love the candy is fun, but it's like I can't see it too much. Like I
No,
need,
for sure.
you know what
For
I
sure.
mean? Yeah.
I when I eat like handfuls of high chews, I don't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And the Archer's like turkey beef sticks are
Okay,
good.
yeah.
I like those. Pretzels.
I got a good one. This maybe doesn't technically fall under crafty, but anytime I come to a set early in the morning and they got breakfast burritos, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, those are so good every time.
Oh, and then I thought of one more, also a sugary, sweet thing, but especially in the summer, if you're filming something and it's really hot, popsicles. Gotta have some
Definitely.
popsicles just to keep morale up, whatever.
Yes, I love that. We got to make this happen.
Yeah.
The dream crafty right here.
Absolutely.
All right, so our next segment is our industry icks.
Great.
So, what is on your industry betrayal list?
Industry X. The only thing I can really think of right now, because I don't really try to keep track of, like, I'm not the guy who's going to be like, this person stabbed me in the back or whatever like that, just because I don't find it's a very productive way of thinking. But there's definitely things that I remember. Like, for example, when I first moved here, I got on this set, and I met another guy on this set, and we worked together. He was another PA, and we worked together for the day, and it was fine. It was cordial. We didn't really talk that much, but it was fine. And then I texted him that evening just because I was still, fresh. And I was just kind of like, hey, it was great to meet you. I'd love to work together. Let me know if you want to blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Didn't hear anything from him. He left me on red. Whatever. It's okay. Fast forward a couple years, this Hannah Montana thing comes out. I'm key PA. I'm posting about it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then who texts me but this guy? He's like, hey, man, so good to hear from you. I was just wondering where you pick up some of these gigs that you work on and stuff. I'm like, get out of here, bro.
Wow.
Now you want to talk to me, huh? It's like that kind of thing, which I feel like is not uncommon in LA and particularly in this industry.
Yeah.
But it's still just kind of like, come on, bro.
Yeah. It rubs you the wrong way. It's kind of that like fake energy. Like you didn't have my back when or you weren't there for me, but now you want to come and get this.
Even if he had just texted me back and was like, hey, man, it was great to meet you too. That's all I would have needed.
Yeah.
But to just completely leave me unopened and then to hit me up 2 years later, it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like it's out of touch,
Totally.
Like if you were keeping up with someone, and like you said, if you had just responded, but to not respond, but then to kind of like want my advice or help later is crazy. Yeah. I think that's a good industry ick. I agree with that one for sure. Yeah. So, Matt, you are on Call Sheet Confessions.
Yes, I am.
What's your call sheet confession?
I guess my call sheet confession, this is kind of a lame one, I guess, because this is not really gossipy, but I'll say it anyways. I know I was just talking a little bit about saying that I think people drink too much soda on film sets, and I do think that's true. I also drink soda on film sets. The only soda I drink on film set is Mountain Dew Baja Blast. And
Baja
that's like the
Blast.
only soda that I like anymore. When I was a kid, I drank soda like crazy, but now I've gotten a much more refined palate as I've gotten older. So Baja Blast is the only thing I drink. So if you send me to a gas station to fill up a minivan or send me to Ralph's or Walmart or something to buy groceries, I'm gonna buy a Baja Blast. I might not put it on the company card or whatever like that, but
Yeah.
I'm coming back with a Baja Blast for sure.
No, Baja Blast is so good.
I guess my other call sheet confession is whenever I send like heading to the studio ETA 11:05, I always add 10 minutes just to give myself a little bit of extra time if I get stuck in traffic or whatever. And then if I get there early, great, I'm there early. But
Right.
if I get delayed, then I have 10 minutes of built-in buffer time just in case.
That's smart. That's kind of a pro tip. That way, if you're like 11:02 and then, you get stuck in traffic or something, it doesn't look like you're coming back late if you
Yeah.
get there at 11:05.
Yeah.
But if you set yourself up for success and kind of give you a buffer, then if you show up early, they're like, oh, great.
Great to see you.
Yeah. That's a good tip. I like that. Also, if I get sent out for Crafty, I thought about this too. I always come back with Dots pretzels.
Okay.
And they're
Yeah.
always a hit.
For sure.
So-
People love Dots pretzels.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's another one is, like you said, when you get sent out for Crafty, I usually, within reason,
Yeah.
will buy something for the crew that I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, for example, on Bachelor one season, they sent me out to buy drinks, water, soda, whatever. I threw in a 12-pack of Baja Blast. I think me and probably one other person drank them, but you know what? They were nice to have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. So, in another life, Matt, if you weren't working in production, what would you be doing?
That's a great question. I really don't know because, like I said, I didn't really have a
Right.
plan B. I love comic books. I've always loved comic books. So if film production was completely off limits to me, then I would probably try to find something in comic books.
Cool.
I mean, like Marvel and DC are huge, but even just like some of these smaller publishing companies, things like that, I think that I would be not quite as happy as I am working in the film industry, but I would definitely still feel good about it. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
like, oh, this job sucks. Because, like I said, I've loved comic books ever since I was a little kid, and
Yeah.
to be able to work in that world would also be really cool.
And it would still be a creative industry.
Totally.
Yeah. So, if you were starting over, if you were just moving out to LA, or for anyone who really wants to work as a production assistant on set or work in production in general, what's your advice for them?
I mean, I've been very blessed in my career. I've worked hard, but I've also been very lucky. And so I'm trying to think if there's anything. I guess maybe it would just have been to start looking outside of the Bachelor world or whatever sooner. Because, like I said, I spent like a year and a half just kind of coasting on Bachelor and stuff.
Yeah.
And my career's going fine. But I think it would have been cool to have started looking outside of that for other opportunities even sooner.
Yeah.
To more specifically try to be like, oh, I wonder, can I work on American Idol? Can I blah, 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 this kind of stuff? Because by the time I started thinking about that, other PAs that I had started around the same time as were already hopping on some of these other different shows. So I was kind of like,
Gotcha.
oh, I got to catch up. So, yeah, I mean, no huge regrets, but I guess that would have been one to just have been even more proactive in looking for other work,
Yeah.
not to get too comfortable.
And how would you suggest someone go about proactive and reaching out to people?
I mean, like I said, talking to other PAs is really big, just finding out what other people are working on. Because there have been jobs that I've gotten just because I asked another PA, hey, what are you working on? And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm working on blah, blah, blah for this person. I can send you their information if you want. And then you just text this person and, they've got you. Even if they don't hire you right now, they have you in their head. They're like, oh, I'll hit you up for whatever. And also, I mean, this is going to be sort of a very old Hollywood tip, but sometimes just like sending cold emails.
Yeah.
I know someone who works on a lot of reality shows with me who she got her start by just finding people on LinkedIn that work in the film production world and sending them messages or emailing agencies, whatever like that, because all it takes is one.
Yeah, right.
So it's, like I said, it is kind of an old Hollywood thing, but it still works. I mean, just send out, excuse me, just send out emails and messages and stuff like that. Eventually, someone's gonna read it and respond to you. It might take
Yeah.
a while, but eventually one is gonna get through.
Yeah, and like you said, all it takes is one.
Mhm.
And it might be an old Hollywood thing, but cold pitching never goes out of style. Like
Yeah.
you can always like find people's contact and email them and just see what happens. But I love that you also mentioned LinkedIn because LinkedIn's more like new school.
Mhm.
And I know in my college, a big part of our curriculum was like our LinkedIn profiles and like, how to curate that and present yourself in the best way possible. So I love that you mentioned that, because I think that's something a lot of college students that want to work in film could take from and learn from and utilize LinkedIn.
Because people don't really think that, especially for something like the film industry,
Yeah.
people don't really think that LinkedIn is that important. And I will agree, it's maybe not the most important, but it's still
Right.
definitely a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Like on my LinkedIn, I take my LinkedIn very seriously. I
Yeah, me
keep it
too.
super up to date. I put in everything I work on, all this kind of stuff, and I keep it super updated so that when people ask for my resume, I have my link to my LinkedIn on my resume.
Yes.
Because on your resume, you don't want to have 3 pages full of everything you've worked on.
Right.
But it's like, these are the select things I've worked on, and also if you want to see more, here's a list of everything on my LinkedIn or my IMDb, stuff like that.
Yes, and I did notice that about your LinkedIn, and I think it's great. And the cool thing about LinkedIn too is when you're putting your experience, you can put like links to
Yeah.
things, or you can like actually showcase the work, or then they can see a post of you on set,
Yeah,
and
totally.
kind of get a feel for you, and definitely see like your whole career trajectory, so they can get kind of more familiar with you than just looking at like your credits on your resume, you
Yeah,
know?
totally.
Yeah, so it's definitely I think it's such a good tip for like college students and people, and just in general in film or any industry, like getting that LinkedIn profile up to
Absolutely.
date. So Matt, are you living your dream? What's next for you? What's the dream job?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
With where I am right now, I'm definitely living the dream. This is something, like I've said this a couple of times during this video so far, but
Yeah.
I've wanted to move out to LA and work in the film industry since I was a little kid, and I'm doing it. It's great. Uh, Obviously, it's as soon as you reach a goal, you set more goals for yourself. So I would love to shift more towards scripted and specifically feature films. I've worked on a couple
Okay.
feature films, but I would love to work on more and move my way up in the production world. I'm doing, like we've talked about, I'm mostly PA stuff, but I'm doing more coordinator stuff,
Yeah.
managing, producing, things like that. So I would love to just keep working my way up and get into a higher up production position for scripted feature films. That's kind of my goal right now.
Awesome. Well, that's so exciting. And where can we find you? Where can we support?
Follow me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram at Sonic Boom. I also have an IMDb. That's just my name. You can see all my lovely credits on there. I used to have a website, but I'm at the point in my career where I don't think a PA really needs a website. I was just kind of paying Squarespace for nothing. All that information's on my
Yeah.
IMDb and my LinkedIn and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it is important to have some different places where people can find you, definitely. So yeah, IMDb, LinkedIn, Instagram. I used to have a Twitter, but not anymore. But yeah, so definitely, I don't know, follow my LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, I thank you so much, Matt, for coming on. I feel like you shared like so many good tips and knowledge, and I feel like anyone that wants to become a PA could really learn what that experience is like listening to this, and just what working in the industry is like.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
Of course, and I'm so excited about these 2 films that you're working on. I want to see them.
It's gonna be pretty cool.
They sound awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you again. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching this episode of Kashi Confessions. Always remember to chase the dream and work hard, because if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. May your call times be reasonable and your checks be on time. And like my Mimi always says, break a leg, but not really. Bye.